why generations of Russians like me will live badly in Russia, and why will nothing change for a very long time. A big reason of this is actually the older generations of Russians. Surprise, surprise. This generations of Russians are the ones who watch television in their spare time. And trust me guys, they got a lot of time on their hands. And you might be thinking, why is that a problem? Well, it's because Russian television is obviously state controlled, and you can imagine what sort of stuff they show there. But it's the generation of Russians who lived through the Soviet Union and believe in that one leader that took them out of the harsh gang violence of the 90s in Russia. Because obviously during the 90s there were huge gangs all over Russia doing all sorts of stuff. So since he took them out of the so-called 90s and brought them to what they have now, a free and a very democratic country of Russia. Hello there and welcome everybody to a brand new video talking about Russia from the Russian himself, but not in Russia right now. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell button to not miss any videos. I would also appreciate if you could share this video on your social media, because this could really help me follow my true American dream, which is me and Evelina and the cats coming over to the United States of America. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to the video. A prime example of the generation that I was talking about can be seen in the following video.
We believe that if Putin acted this way, it must be right. As he finally decided, so it absolutely must be. We are powerless here. We support Putin. He's a highly competent person, always does everything right, so we wholeheartedly support him. We wish him good health so that he can continue working with us in Russia for a long time.
Those two ladies were randomly approached by a journalist to ask them about their opinion on Putin and do they support him. Obviously from this video we could see that those two older ladies support whatever Putin does and whatever Putin says. You might be asking yourself, how do they support such a person? The explanation is quite simple, which a lot of people still don't understand living in the West. The explanation is simple. They watch television all the time, and as you guys should know, television in Russia is completely controlled by the Russian government, which means whatever is said there has to be allowed by the man himself. So whatever Putin does, the heroic stuff and the patriotic stuff is put out to people to see, and that is why people think that he's so heroic, doing such a good thing for Russia, doing whatever he does. But they don't ask themselves why some regions in Russia still don't have gas, water, or in some occasions even plumbing in general. But they watch television and praise him and the government for them doing absolutely nothing. You guys might be wondering what this fluff ball right here is. It's actually my cat chilling around here. A big problem of this generation that I'm talking about is not even about them voting for Putin. A big problem is that those generations have kids and grandchildren, and guess what happens when one person is brainwashed? They start unsuspectedly brainwashing their kids and their grandchildren, because sometimes their kids could have a different opinion on something, and that generation would tell to them, "You're stupid. I've lived this life. I've been on this earth way more than you have been, so I have more knowledge than you about the current situation going on." But the problem is they don't understand that just being on this earth doesn't mean they actually have a clue on what is going on. Nevertheless, they end up brainwashing the next generation. And guess what happens? That generation starts brainwashing the next generation. This is like the unstoppable brainwashing that is done even without the television. And the way they do this brainwashing is by basically saying that if you don't agree with something, you're not patriotic. The problem is they don't understand the term of being patriotic. Being patriotic means to love your country, to do the best for your country. But they think that the government is actually the country. So they think that they should be defending the government. Even if they do something bad, you should still be with your own people. Now, that is just very bad thinking, and unfortunately that's what people do. Because I consider myself a patriot, and I would love the best for my country. And the best for my country would be a change of government, and Russia being a democratic country where you have different presidents that can actually put the country in the right place. But unfortunately, I've been born and Putin was the president, and I am 25 years old now, and he is still the president. Have not seen any other president except Medvedev, but I mean, like, come on, guys. We all know he was just set up there because Putin couldn't prolong his presidential terms until he changed the constitution, and now he could be the president until he passes away. Flippin' heck. The people who watch television all the time don't even bother to look at what Putin said in his previous speeches. So if you actually look at what Putin has said back a few years back, like 5-10 years back, he sounded like a completely different person. And then when you listen to what he says now, is completely controversial and completely different. It's like the exact opposites of what he said back then. For example, talking about the exchange, which I accidentally predicted. And by the exchange, I mean the political prisoner exchanges with the Americans going back home and the political prisoners that are Russians who are literally kind of thrown out of the country, which is illegal by the Russian constitution, but it seems like no laws work in Russia. Krasikov, the Russian killer who was brought back to Russia, was greeted by the Russian president the moment he stepped off the plane. Although Putin has said after the killing has been done in Germany back in the day, he said that Russia has nothing to do with it, but he also said that the person who was killed was not a good person because he has killed many Russian people. But he did say that there was no involvement from the government, although Germany said and stated that Russian government had an involvement in this. But the Russian government was denying it till this point, basically, after the exchange, because Krasikov was actually a special agent, and you could check out this fragment over here.
Это не просто грузин, это человек, который принимал активное участие в боевых действиях на стороне сепаратистов на Кавказе. Он не грузин по национальности. Этот человек находился у нас в розыске. Это боевик, причем очень жесткий и кровавый человек. Только в одной из акций, в которых он принял участие, им было убито 98 человек. Он был одним из организаторов взрывов в московском метро. Я не знаю, что с ним произошло. Это бандитская среда, и там может произойти все, что угодно.
Красиков является сотрудником Федеральной службы безопасности. Он служил в Альфе. И интересно, что когда он служил в Альфе, то он служил вместе с некоторыми сотрудниками охраны президента, которые сейчас работают в президентской охране, и которые, естественно, они друг друга тоже приветствовали вчера, когда увидели друг друга.
Very, very interesting. Am I surprised? Not really. Are you surprised? I doubt you are surprised. What amazes me the most is that there was a terrorist attack in Crocus City Hall in Moscow. And that was the time when I was still living in Russia. It took Putin a few days to comment on it. He didn't even address the nation properly. Any other president in any other country, if there was, God forbid, a terrorist attack somewhere, would straight away address the nation to tell them that we're not afraid of the terror, don't be afraid, and we're gonna beat this, right? He did not do it. It took him a few days to even say anything about it. He didn't even go to the place where this has happened. But when a killer arrives, straight away he got in his Urus and drove down to the airport. What kind of a president greets a killer but does not address his nation straight away after a terrorist attack? This sickens me. And how can people not call me a patriot when I say that this person is just out of his head, greeting a killer and not addressing a nation after a huge attack in Crocus City Hall? What I wanted to say with this video is that it's going to be very hard to step out of this brainwashing washing machine, because generations are going to be brainwashed by the generations, by the state television, by all of this together. This is why generations of Russians will live under bad regimes in Russia for a very, very long time. Except if a miracle happens. But unfortunately, I doubt that a miracle will happen, because with all the new crazy laws coming out in Russia, I doubt something like that will actually happen. YouTube being blocked, Instagram blocked already, Facebook blocked, Twitter blocked. I wouldn't doubt that they will block Google quite soon as well, so that Russians living in Russia will not get any information from the outside world, which will make the brainwashing even easier. This is unbelievable, and it will be very hard to change something in Russia, because there are millions and millions of brainwashed people. So imagine 100,000 people who want to make a change in Russia. They will be surrounded by millions of brainwashed people who will be defending not Russia, but the current regime that is controlling Russia itself. Thank you very much for watching this video. As I have told you in the previous videos, I will be making videos every single day. So don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and hit the bell button to not miss any new videos. If you would like to support my channel while I'm sorting out my banking issues, you could also check out my Patreon in the links in the description. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time.